How we getting on, folks? Look, I know an awful lot of people have been messaging me and what have you, and just wondering where I've been. If you haven't seen, say, the Facebook or the Twitter or whatever, um, basically the story is with me. I've taken a bit of a step back from YouTube. Um, the reason being is I found there's been an awful lot of won't say hate or anything like that, but an awful lot of controversy, say, towards me and whatever. But uh, just the fact that I'm going to be starting college now in the next month and I'm going to be very, very busy, won't necessarily have the um, time to do these daily videos and what have you. I decided to focus on the patron side of things more so than the YouTube and whatever like that. Now, if you're thinking that I'm not going to be active on YouTube or whatever like that, I still will be. I'll just not be as active as I used to be, as in every single day doing these videos and getting these videos up for everyone that has been following me. I don't know. It just seemed to take a bit of a turn there. I suppose the week after Galway. Now I was still, from memory serves me right, there was 16-1 winners and 20-1 winners and all that among the mix as well. And I was still getting pretty hateful messages and comments and different things like that. And I just said that it was maybe time just to step back and to focus on different things and try and grow them, as opposed to try and keep progressing with the YouTube. Now the tips and all that won't be available here. I will be doing previews and racecourse reviews and different things like that. Still on the Peaky blogger and all that, so still make sure to keep an eye out for me and all that. But just, I suppose, for the likes of Patreon and whatever, just want to give you a quick run through how things have been going. Generally very, very good. Since I started doing the exclusive for Patreon, there's been plenty of good winners. I managed to get 4 winners from 7 selections the night before, including a non-runner in that, and one of those ended up to be third. The ones that didn't actually end up going on to win, 2-1, 9-4, 4-1, and 5-1. Just going through the selections here again for that particular day. That was the 18th of the 8th. Dreams Under My Feet, I don't think ended up winning. Accelerator Express 4-1, that definitely did end up winning. Cherish 2-1, Nap, that one. Gubinator was a non-runner. Imperial Fighter was second each way. And Mishriff and Arcadian Sunrise ended up winning. Mishriff obviously 13-8 the night before, and Arcadian Sunrise 5-1 the night before. Going through the rest of them, then there's 6-4 winner the next day, 9-2 winning Nap. Dalton Highway was that day. The day after that, 3-1 winning Nap, 22-1 winner, which would have been for the YouTube selections, I do call them now. The day after that, treble came in 11-10, 9-4, 10-3, a 5 were down, paid 113.75 back. There's been loads of winners. There's no point in me going through them all here. All you have to do is just go on to the Irish Racing Corner Facebook page or the Irish Racing Hour Twitter, and you will see how exactly we've been doing. But I suppose to kickstart the new journey and to kickstart the new content, what I will be doing is these racecourse reviews, and I'm going to start this off by doing Dundalk. Now I was in Dundalk on Thursday night, or Thursday afternoon, should I say. I was lucky enough to actually have a runner in that on that particular day with Broker's Tip for the Seven Worlds Racing Club. Ran a very, very good race. He's definitely going to have a win or two in the next, I suppose, coming flat winter campaign around Dundalk as well. So look, with the help of God, he won't be too far away from his next win, and definitely looks to be a very, very exciting horse for us. But anyway, we'll kick things off. I'm going to go through 4 or 5 different aspects of the races in Dundalk. Going to be scoring them as fairly as I can. I'll be doing something like that for an awful lot of courses I will be going to now that the country is going to be starting to open up now again. Just try and promote going to these races and going to these events whenever they're on, in wherever they are in the country. Just go out and travel and get out to these race meetings, because I tell you something, for a lad before Thursday that wouldn't necessarily be a mad lover of Dundalk, or would never really think about going to Dundalk before, my opinion definitely has been changed now. We'll start off first with the location. It's very central. It's very, very easy to get to. There's plenty of main roads coming into it. I suppose the parking and all that. There's a great car park in there, and very, very easy to get to. Very easy access from wherever you are in the country. And once you go into the race course itself, the views surrounding of the Cooley Mountains and whatever else there is around there. But like, just if you're ever going to Dundalk, or if you're planning to go to Dundalk, just walk in the main doors, just stand there and look at the views for 2 minutes, and it definitely will be blowing you away. I suppose, for a location aspect, you couldn't really get much better than it. I definitely found it was very, very easy to get to, and there's some tracks in Ireland that would definitely be a little bit out of the way and whatever, but definitely with Dundalk, it was very, very central, very easy to get to. Definitely had no problems getting there to it, and in my opinion anyway, is one of the easiest tracks to get to in the country that I've travelled to so far. So for that, I will definitely be giving it a 9 out of 10. Racecourse experience. One of the most important things I think about going to the races is the experience you have at the track. Whether that's being able to see the horses coming up the home straight, or being able to see the horses on a big screen, or even just, I suppose, the general view of the racetrack and the vibe you get from the atmosphere and whatever. I was very, very pleasantly surprised. You could see 90% of the racetrack from where I was standing there at the winning line. The only thing that was obstructing was a couple of bushes over the far corner. But that was compensated then with the big screen in view for everyone. Definitely gave a great up close and personal aspect to it as well. I said before going to Dundalk, Naas was definitely a track that I felt gave the best up close and personal aspect of racing. You could literally, in Naas, you could literally put your hand out and you could touch the horses going past. It was that I suppose that close, and that it was just pure excitement seeing the horses going by at such speed and at such close proximity to you. It just it gives a different sort of a vibe and a different sort of a excitement to the racetrack. But Dundalk outweighed that massively. Literally, you walk in the doors, you're there at the I suppose the home straight. You could literally stand up to the near side railing and see the horses going by half a meter to a meter in front of you. Like, it's literally put your hand out and touch the horses that close, and it gives such a vibe and such an atmosphere, and it definitely, I suppose, it puts things into perspective, the speed and the standard of the horses that are running at this sort of level. Generally, my overall opinion of Dundalk before going to this meeting on Thursday was that it wasn't necessarily substandard racing, but you'd see an awful lot of 0 to 65s, not to 45s, different things like that. Wouldn't necessarily be your Royal Ascot or your Epsom or Curra or Leopardstown or anything like that, but it definitely does serve a purpose, and it does give the likes of the smaller trainers, smaller yards, I suppose, not necessarily the Group 1 owners, that sense of excitement. It was full to the neck of great racing people with great knowledge and great excitement, and just a vibe like that definitely rubs off on you. I was very, very pleasantly surprised to see such a turnout for that meeting, and for the fact that it was only 500 allowed on the track. Definitely didn't seem it. It seemed like there was a couple of thousand there. Just the general vibe and the general atmosphere and the roar from the stands and everything else like that. It was just very, very exciting altogether. In my opinion, and I know this is probably going to be a bit controversial, but I definitely think it was one of the best racing experiences I've ever experienced. In terms of enjoyment, excitement, like I already said, the close proximity of the horses to the spectators, it was something that I'd never experienced before. And in my opinion anyway, I know I gave the location down as 9 out of 10, but this definitely has to go a perfect score, 10 out of 10 for me. And I honestly didn't think I'd be scoring such high scores for the racing experience in Dundalk, but I was definitely left pleasantly surprised. Prices now, the price points. Some racetracks would be generally very, very fair. Some maybe a little bit steep. Now, I will make the point across that I didn't actually get food on the track myself, but the restaurant looked absolutely lovely, but it was just the case that I didn't want food. But I did have drinks, and for a long neck bottle, $5.50. In my opinion, it was a little bit steep. I don't know. Look, you're probably. It's a tricky situation because I know, look at it, so close to Dublin and what have you, and the standard look at Dublin prices and all that, you would have to take into consideration as well. But in my opinion, and it's just my personal opinion alone, the price point for a long neck bottle was pretty steep. The fact that we can get a pint bottle back where I'm from, back home, for in around $5.50, $5.60, to be paying the same price for a long neck bottle, it seems steep. Now, there's other people that disagree with me on that, and they have every right to. But in my opinion, that's just something that let it down a little bit. The general admission, €15. Just checked it up on the website there. Very, very fair. Standard, I suppose, racetrack meeting, especially there midweek, would be generally €15. So, look, in terms of fairness and everything else like that, you couldn't get much fairer than that. It was standard price. And look at a long neck bottle for $5.50 could well be standard price as well in Dundalk and close to Dublin and what have you. But just being a Galway man and being a country man, it seemed to me it was a little bit steep, and I'm going to be a little bit harsh on that. But in terms of the prices, I'm going to score 7 out of 10. Just a little bit let down with the slightly steep price for the long neck bottles. We're going to go straight from there to the bar. And I will point out here, the service was second to none. It was great service. Now, it was table service, but the layout of the bar, plenty of tables, plenty of chairs. You had loads of cover from the I wouldn't say the canopy, but the cover from the stand and the main stands, what have you. So can't fault it for that. like I already said, price points I thought was a little bit steep. Selections as well, selections of drinks seemed a little bit limited. Now when I went up to the bar to want to drink, the three options I was given were cider, lager, and wine. Now I don't drink wine. I'd rarely drink lager, but look, at lucky enough, I would definitely like a cider. And I think in terms of, I suppose, people that would be going there for a holiday aspect and what have you, I think it's important to have a good selection of drinks, whether they get used or whether they don't. Like, I know in an ideal situation, I'd have loved to have maybe a pint or even a bottle of Guinness or something along the lines like that, but didn't seem they had it available. Now, generally, I wouldn't drink on a racecourse anyway, but it was just the fact that it was a sort of a holiday aspect, and the fact that I was actually going there as an owner. I just said, look, we'll take the opportunity when it comes, and we'll go for a drink. And look, I think in terms of looking at it as fair as I can, I would have liked to have seen something along the lines of a good option there available for whatever drink. Now, look, I was happy enough with the cider and whatever, but between everything, I suppose the price, the variety, or the lack of variety, as I've already said, I was just left with the situation where I got one drink and that's all I had. I wasn't left with the want for more, or I wasn't left for, I wasn't encouraged, say, to go back and buy again, you could say. Now, that for me is the only letdown for the day. But overall, I think, look, at the service was great. The seating and the overall hospitality and all that was very, very good. But I just think the price points and the variety that was available there, it just let the overall score down, and I gave it 5 out of 10. Look, it's just one of those things where it could have potentially been very, very easy to improve with just a better variety and a better choice, a bit more of a choice of drinks available. Now, there was non-alcoholic drinks that are available as well, and 99.99% of times I definitely would be going for one of them, but just, it just left me a small little bit disappointed. But look, at overall, throughout the day I was very, very happy. Finally, then, probably the most important thing as well, when you want to go to the racetrack, you want to be able to have a bet. And in my opinion, look, at the betting was fairly standard. Nothing over the top ordinary, but definitely enough to get you by. There was 3 on-course bookmakers there. Looked, generally it's small enough for standard Irish meetings. I know I was in Tipperary. Was it Tipperary? No, it wasn't Tipperary. It was Fairy House. And they had, I think they had 5 or 6 bookmakers in the ring and all that. Like, so look, at maybe it's something got to do with COVID, I don't know, but to me it looked small, it looked a little bit limited. But then again, saying that, Bar One were just across the way, and they had a lovely setup there. They had someone there taking the bets. They had a great screen up with all the prices of all the different tracks that were on that particular day. There was 4 screens up, so if you wanted to see, Clonmel was on that particular day as well. Few other tracks, I think Newbury and a few other tracks over in England were on as well. So if you wanted to see something else, or if you wanted to see a particular race in a different meeting, it was all there for it. And there's some courses in Ireland that wouldn't have that. So all in all, did the job. Wasn't necessarily getting over the top, but definitely wouldn't be the worst. But I have seen better in terms of a betting ring full of bookies varying different prices and what have you. I scored at 6 out of 10. I think it was a fair enough price. It was look at it. It was an average. It was an average number of bookies for for a midweek race card. And I think that's what's most important here. I could have went to town and said that 3 on-course bookmakers is not enough for a busy day at the racetrack, but at the end of the day, it was midweek, and it was still very, very accessible and all that. Like, so 6 out of 10, I think, definitely overall very, very fair in my opinion. Now, I suppose just going down through the general recap of the review, I personally thoroughly enjoyed the day out. People will probably ask me, will I go back again? I definitely will. I think it was definitely, in terms of a racing experience, one of the best days out I've had on a racetrack in quite some time. Now, I've been to many different tracks. I've been to many different events. I've been to the likes of Galway, Fairy House there for the Grand National meeting, Leopardstown there for the Christmas meeting and all that. I can honestly say Dundalk that particular day, I know it might sound mad and it might sound crazy, but in terms of an overall experience and in terms of just being there and seeing the horses in such close proximity and going by at such pace and such lick, and it just gave a different aura about the standard of racing that generally goes on in Dundalk. We won't say it goes on all the time because it doesn't, but generally the 0 to 65s, the 0 to 45s, the lower standard races generally don't bring too much excitement when you're watching on screen. And I can safely say at the track, it's a completely different story. It was the height of excitement, the height of fun. Definitely for the likes of general admission there for €15, I definitely think it's very, very fair. It's nearly too good when you think about all the facilities there and the way the course is laid out, the parade ring, different things like that. It's all in such close proximity. You don't need to walk a million miles to go to one parade ring, or walk a million miles to go to go to a stand or a track or whatever like that. It's all within about 50 to 100 yards of each other, and it's definitely, it's just generally a very, very good day out. Now, saying that, it's not for everyone. Some people don't like Dundalk. I know I will put my hands up and say I didn't like Dundalk up until actually going there, but I definitely will be back, and I will be back even on the cold winter nights. Hopefully Broker's Tip is running, and hopefully he'll be winning on that particular night. It'll definitely save the long journey down, the 3-hour journey down for second place or third place, or being denied a neck or hitting the crossbar or what have you. But just generally, it was an overall very, very good experience, and I cannot stress that enough. For midweek racing, it was low standard racing, to be perfectly honest. There was a couple of claiming races, there was a couple of 0 to 65s, there was few okay maidens. I personally think it was a brilliant day out, and for racing of that standard, I normally wouldn't say it, but it definitely did really, really impress me. Overall, I think, I'm just going to say it again, the variety of the drinks that was available. I know on another night when I would be driving up and down, or if I wasn't staying in Dundalk that night, I wouldn't be drinking and it wouldn't have bothered me. But it was just the fact that it was once in a blue moon where I could have a drink at the racetrack, and I was limited to either cider, lager, or wine. Now there could have been another bar somewhere else that I didn't know about that was serving Guinness, and if it was, I will be fuming. But um, look, that's the only thing that let the side down, and I think even at that, it's a little bit harsh considering we are in the middle of COVID. But calculating up the scores, I calculated up 37 out of 50. I times that by 2, 7.4 out of 10. And I think that is a very, very good score for. And I'll put my hands up and say this. This is coming from someone that, if Dundalk was outside my door on a Friday night, 99.99% of times, I would turn the other way and I would look at something else. But in terms of a race course, providing the excitement and providing the buzz of racing in Ireland, I have not experienced too much better than Dundalk. And I'm going to say that straight up. I was pleasantly surprised. And I think for anyone that's interested in Irish racing, for anyone that have any sort of interest in going to racetracks and wouldn't necessarily think Dundalk is a place that you would usually go, put it on the to-do list. I wouldn't like to be trying to say that one had a couple of Guinnesses, but yeah, it's definitely something that should be done at least once by every single racing fan in Ireland, at least once in their lifetime. Look at Dundalk, like I said, it's not for everyone, but it does serve a great purpose. And yeah, I look forward to going back there now in the winter and seeing hopefully the same sort of standard racing as I did on Thursday night. It was very, very exciting, very, very good. The handicapper had a dream on a couple of occasions. He really called it down. He really got hit the nail on the head and made for some very, very good racing. So look at 7.4 out of 10. I think that's a very, very fair score. Potentially could be higher if there's more people at it. And I know that's something that just can't happen at the moment in the middle of COVID, but definitely will be going down there again later on in the winter, and will definitely be coming down once the the restrictions lift and once the crowds can come back and when there is going to be a full house. And my God, I'm looking forward to it. That's all I'm going to say in the matter. I want to thank the likes of Dundalk and all that for putting on such a great race card. I'm not going to say much more on it, but I was definitely pleasantly surprised, and I would definitely advise anyone that would have some sort of interest in going to Dundalk to definitely go out of your way to try and go there. For those who want to sign up to the Patreon, now is a great time. It's €10 a month. Basically, what it does is it helps fund the podcast for the Irish Racing Hour. Now, what the Irish Racing Hour is, it's a podcast there for the people of racing. It focuses on getting guests in every week, or as often as we possibly can, to talk about their life in racing. Now, the guests that we've had on, they've ranged between stable staff, jockeys, trainers, owners. Hopefully we might try and get a couple of racecourse managers in as well, and like the likes of farriers, jockey coaches, jockey agents, vets, or farriers. I'm not 100% sure if I said farriers or not, but we're going to say them again. We're trying to get as much people in from every walk of life in the industry on to be able to tell their story, because at the end of the day, these are the people that don't get to tell their story on the likes of Racing TV, at the races, or Sky Sports Racing as it's called now. And we're doing something a little bit unorthodox, and we're doing something a little bit different. And your €10 a month definitely does help us a long way, in terms of getting going bigger and better and doing bigger and better things with it. As well as that, you will be getting the likes of the daily tips, like I've already said. Please do feel free to check out the Facebook and Twitter pages to be able to see what's on offer and what's available. But as well as that, you will be added into the monthly giveaways. Is €25 free. There this month we're giving away a cash prize of €25. So for the sake of €10, you're putting in 10. You could easily double it in the space of a couple of days without having a single bet on. So and as well as that, look, you get added into the WhatsApp groups as well. And look at the prize this month, it would be one of the lower ends compared to other months. We have given away shares and horses, and we have given away different prizes like race and merchandise and whatever. But look at link in the description below. It's €10 a month. Now is the time to get stuck in and get started with it. If you have been a big fan of me in the past, which I know there's an awful lot of people that have been, and want to, I suppose, get the tips that you're missing out on, I would be advising to get on board. Now, I know, look, it's not for everyone and everything else, but it definitely does help us out a long way. It really, really does, and it's greatly appreciated. Even if it's just for a month, or even if it's just to show your support, it really does help us get off the ground, and it's for a great cause, and it's for getting these names and these people that put in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week into Irish racing. And the reason why we are the best in the world at it is because of these people, and the fact that they don't usually get the credit that they deserve and the credit they should be getting. We are trying to give them that credit and trying to do the right thing and trying to promote Irish racing as much as we possibly can. But look, I'm going to leave it there. Please make sure to keep liking, sharing, and subscribing. If you like this, please let me know. If you didn't like it, please do let me know as well. But look, it's great to be back, and I will try and get up as often as I can. Obviously, with college and all that coming up now next month, I won't be able to get on, maybe every couple of weeks if I'm lucky, but we are going to try and do as much as we possibly can here. But look, stay safe, and I will be talking to you hopefully not too long into the future. Thanks very much, folks. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe.